Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the March 11th, 2014 Richland School District 2 School Board of Trustees meeting. Thank you all for being here. The board has just returned from executive session, and at this time we will stand and have an inspirational moment and pledge of allegiance. I chose to do an inspirational moment tonight on integrity. And when I looked up integrity, I found a lot of interesting points, but the one that I found that was most interesting to me was 4 reasons why integrity should be your number one quality. Reason number 1 is trust. If you are a person that has integrity, your personal relationships and professional relationships will be genuine, and the people around you will know they can trust you with anything. Number 2 is responsible. If you have integrity, people will give you higher level responsibilities because they know and feel like you'll always do the right thing. Number 3, respect. If you stand up for doing the right thing, people at times may not always agree with what you do, but they will have a great respect for you, that you stand up for what you believe in. And number 4, authentic. When with integrity you are looked at as a real person, someone with class. People with high integrity never have to look over their shoulder for anything they've done. They can feel good about the choices they've made. Real integrity is doing the right thing, knowing that no one's going to know whether you did it or not. The pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Mrs. Spector, one of our board members, extends her apologies. She's a bit under the weather and was not able to be with us tonight, so we certainly want to let her know that we miss her and miss her presence on tonight. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Manning, second by Dr. Fleming. Any discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion regarding the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mrs. Anderson, second by Mrs. Brill. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is faculty focus. Dr. Ham.
Mrs. Millette will present the faculty focus. Thank you, Dr. Ham. We're delighted tonight to have some very special folks from Killian Elementary. Mr. Jared Pendergrass and Kendra Waring will discuss and elaborate briefly their experience with AVID at the elementary level. This is the first year for some of our schools, so we're very excited to have this opportunity, and I'm going to ask them to come up, please, and share with the board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jared Pendergrass.
And my name is Kendra Waring. We're both 5th grade teachers at Killian Elementary.
After attending the AVID Elementary Summer Institute, we decided to create a clear, concise, and focused goal and action plan for our students, faculty, and teachers pertaining to AVID Elementary. We wanted to focus on 2-column notes, the agenda for school and home communication, goal settings, for example, SMART goals, the AVID binder organization system, and at the beginning of the school year, we evaluated our students using a rubric, but they're at the point now where they self-assess themselves and they peer assess. We also wanted to focus on self-advocacy.
Okay, as a former middle school teacher, I know the success of the AVID program for middle school students, so I was ecstatic. When I say ecstatic, when I heard that AVID Elementary was coming to our school. I kind of cheated a little bit when I first came to elementary school because once you're an AVID teacher, you're always an AVID teacher. So I started giving my kids some of the organization strategies that I knew would help them when they got to middle school and to high school. One of those strategies that we focused on this year was helping our students set SMART goals. At the beginning of the year, we taught students that their goals must be specific, they must be measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And those are some examples that we have hung in the classroom. Students have their data binders where they frequent their goals throughout the year to remind them what they've set in motion for themselves. All right, so for next year, we've decided to put an emphasis on inquiry with an emphasis on questioning. And also, we want to incorporate a little bit more parent workshops and partnerships. And Mr. Pendergrass actually has a testimony from one of our parents.
Yeah, I had a parent that wanted to get involved in the AVID organization process with the students. So while we were evaluating the students' AVID binders, they brung their bills, they brung the calendar, and they wanted to show the kids that organization and the AVID strategies don't just stop in elementary school, but you use it throughout your life. All
right. Next year, we also want to focus on self-advocacy. Even at an elementary age, we teach our children how to advocate for themselves. We tell them, okay, your parents can contact us, but we want you to be able to articulate and come to us and tell us, Ms. Waring, I need a little extra help on X, Y, and Z, because that is a communication skill that they need for the rest of their lives.
So we decided to present AVID as a unified front as a fifth grade team. So we had a fifth grade team town hall meeting every month where we discussed what is AVID, how we use AVID, and we actually set up all the binders as a grade level in the cafeteria.
Okay. And these are just a few examples. Students talked about what it means to be an AVID student, a successful student, and we also, it's kind of hard to see on here, but we celebrate with the students. This is like a giant banner where kids sign stating that they met their goals for the 9 weeks. All right, just a few testimonials from some of our students. This is one of our fifth grade students. She said, AVID has really changed my life. It has changed my life by keeping me organized. Before AVID, my life was a mess because I was stressed. Yeah, in fifth grade, right? I couldn't find my notes to do my homework at home. Now that I have AVID in my life, my room is clean, my homework is done and correct, and I live a stress-free life.
I need them.
We don't want to read all of them. I really see how AVID has impacted my organization and helped me bring my grades up. I am finally making great math grades. Another student said, before AVID, my desk and book bag was completely stuffed with a lot of papers, and we see that in elementary school. Now I am way more organized and have a great start to middle school.
We really wanted to bring what we were doing in fifth grade to the fourth grade students next year. And one of the biggest reasons is we saw the joy in learning, the excitement that they had after we implemented the AVID strategies. And one of the big things that really jumped out at us was the kids were excited to learn. They were excited to take notes, fifth grade students. And one of the big reasons that we want to implement AVID strategies in fourth grade is we want it to be consistent from fourth grade to fifth grade. So when they get to fifth grade, they're prepared to go to middle school.
And at the beginning of the year, we kind of set up an organizational chart of what they would learn in fourth grade, and we're saying that would give them a jump start to when they get into fifth grade. When they come to fifth grade, they can focus more on inquiry, binder system, self-advocacy, the 2-column notes and SMART goals. And then as a former middle school teacher, I said when they get to middle school, they can focus more on college visits, the Wicker model, Socratic seminar, and so forth. And of course, we are taking an end-of-the-year trip to Washington, D.C., so we decided to put a little college visit in for the Avid students. So our students will get an opportunity to visit Howard University, and many of them have not even been out the state before. So they will have their first chance to walk on the college campus this April. So we thank you for bringing the Avid program to Avid Elementary, and we look forward to the success and also the data that it's going to yield for our students.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments on the board?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Manning.
Is the Avid just at Killian in elementary?
No, there
So across the district.
are 5 schools, I believe.
Is it 3 elementary?
3. I'm sorry.
Okay. But this resonates with me because I have a third grader who comes home and the book bag just explodes with stuff falling out everywhere, including anything she found on the floor that day on the way through. So, and I know her desk is the same way. In fact, you could come to my office and find plenty of other candidates where I work for this. So I applaud you for the work that you're doing. Thank you.
Mrs. Brill.
And I was going to recommend on your Washington trip to visit the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History and also the monuments, Lincoln Memorial, Jefferson. Kids will love it.
They're very excited. So thank you all.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great job. Next on our agenda is our public participation session. No one has signed up for this session. However, if there's anyone in the audience who would like to address the board, you have an opportunity at this time to come to the microphone and address us. Seeing none, thank you very much. Next on our agenda is the voting on our executive session items. The chair will entertain a motion on student appeals.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion that student number 1, that we pull out student number 1. Student number 2, we refer to Blythewood Academy. Student number 3, deny the appeal. Student number 4, deny the appeal and refer to Blythewood Academy.
Second. I apologize. Sure. Yes.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to add a friendly amendment to number 1.
Okay, when we get back to it because we pulled it out.
Oh,
I
that's
pulled
right.
that out, so I need to make a motion
All right.
for number 1.
There's been a motion by Ms. Elkins Johnson, and second by Dr. Fleming. Is there any further discussions on those appeals 2 through 4? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Dr. Fleming?
Yeah, I have to pull it. I'm sorry.
I need to make the motion for student number 1.
Right, we're waiting just a second. We haven't had all the
I'm
votes
in
on
error.
those. Just a
I
second.
do apologize. I am in error. I needed you to pull number 3 because the way it is here, I have to vote on all of those together, and I cannot do that. I'm sorry.
No, I think all you need to do is just change your vote, Ms. Anderson, on number 3 there.
He hasn't voted yet.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying.
No, because of the way it reads on here, I can't vote.
Okay, Jill, what we're going to do is we're going to modify Mrs. Johnson's motion to only include student number 2 and number 4. And then Ms. Johnson.
I do apologize.
That's fine, Ms. Anderson. And on number 3, Ms. Johnson will go back and make the same motion made in just a moment.
Okay.
only on number 2 and number 4 at this time, as originally stated. Well, I don't know. We have to vote on them. Okay, if everyone's voted, yes,
Yes.
there we go. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Ms. Johnson, if you would restate your motion on student number 3 at this time.
On student number 1 or 3?
Number 3.
Number 3? Number 3, deny the appeal and refer to Blythewood Academy. No, I apologize. Deny the appeal for student number 3. Yes, just deny.
This motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Manning. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote on student number 3. Motion passes 5-1. Thank you very much. Now, Ms. Johnson, if you'll state your motion on student number 1.
Yes, student number 1, I'd like to make the motion that the student number 1 return back to home school on strict probation and LRADAC.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Anderson. Motion by Ms. Johnson, second by Ms. Anderson. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Manning.
I'm not going to be able to support this at this time because the student involved other students in these actions. I can't support the going back to the homeschool.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Motion passes 4-2. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda, in this section is the contractual matters. The chair will entertain a motion regarding the contractual matter. Mrs. Brill.
Yes. I move that we authorize staff and administration to engage in contract negotiations with the highest ranked proposer on the design build contract for Elementary School 20, and that the staff and administration return to the board with the proposed contract for approval once negotiations are complete.
Heard the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Johnson. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Manning.
Just one comment. I appreciate, in fact, all of the vendors that were part of this process having a real commitment to the environmental aspects of this particular contract with the district. And I think that because of the location, because of the environment that's there, I'm excited about that commitment and the commitment that I've seen from other board members and the district in maintaining that quality environmental aspect there as it relates to Gills Creek watershed and the other environmental aspects. So I'm very excited to see that this is part of the heart and soul of this project with the environmental component. Thank you.
Very well said. Thank you, Mr. Manning. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda under old business, action requested is the approval of our capital improvement 2014-2015 plan. Dr. Ham.
You've received information about our capital improvements plan. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, we recommend approval of the plan.
I move approval.
A second.
Been moved by Ms. Anderson, second by Mr. Manning. Any further discussion? Mrs. Anderson.
Mr. Chair, I just want to add that in case it's questioned by anyone, because I did question it, a lot of those schools are being done in phases, as Mr. Carter explained in executive session. So if anyone else sees that and as they review it, because if you see schools on there again this year that were present last year, because we're doing schools in phases.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is the approval of an inclement weather makeup days. Dr. Ham.
Our students missed 4 days of schooling due to the snow we had, and I'd like to entertain a motion that pending approval of H4576 joint resolution by the governor, that the board forgive 2 of the days that students missed due to inclement weather, and that students be required to make up the remaining 2 days on March 28th and April 21st, which have been designated as makeup days on the district calendar.
Thank you, Dr. Ham.
She can't make the motion. I will make the motion. She said entertain a motion. I'm just going to entertain what she just said.
I'm going to ask someone to make a motion, Janice.
Okay, well, she had said entertain the motion, so I just, rather than repeating it, I was just going to state her motion.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Is there a second?
Second it.
Thank you, Ms. Brill. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Manning.
I want to say I was originally for making up all of the days that we had. I think education is a priority for this district and commitment, and I appreciate the fact that Dr. Ham did some extensive work to poll the community, poll our teachers, and get some feedback on this, and it looks like we would actually create more problems than we would help by making up on other days that we entertain. So that's why I'm willing to go back to the 2 days in this particular case.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda, under new business, no action requested, is the proposed revisions that we've seen. We were presenting our PAC and policy DA, fiscal management goals and priority objectives. Dr. Ham.
This is an item for discussion. We have no recommendation regarding this policy at this time.
Dr. Molly, would you like to share any light on this document?
Thank you. The board has had discussions about the bonding, the fund balance policy in terms of 7 to 15%. Current policy is that you carry a fund balance between 7 and 15% of general fund. At this point, we've reviewed other districts in the state, other GFOA guidelines, and we think that 15% is certainly an appropriate level. The district right now has a fund balance of right at 15%. Some districts have have a policy of at least 2 months worth of operating. If we were to adopt that policy, that would perhaps give us a band between a range of 7 and say 16.5% discretion. But right this minute, we are right about 15%.
Any questions or comments on the board? Dr. Fleming.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I believe that we need to think about raising the 15% to 16%, because what happens is you don't want to be against your policy. So sometimes it fluctuates over that 15%, and what we're supposed to do is get rid of it. Do something with the money. Okay, so it doesn't force us to do things like that. We don't want to. It gives them flexibility. I say we either go between I either say 7 to 16% or 7 to 2 months, up to 2 months of operating budget. But if some point That's my discussion
Yes,
for
sir.
tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. Other comments? Mr. Manning?
I agree with Bill. I think we need to revisit. I like the idea of a floor of 7% with a maximum of 2 months operating. I think that keeps us from having to revisit as our budget shifts. And my understanding is, Dr. Miley, that by having the 2 months worth of operating expenses in our reserve fund, that keeps us from having to borrow money and actually saves us money
Right, so
over the
It helps to
eternity.
keep our bond rating as high as it could be, and it also avoids, hopefully, any necessary TANs issued during our low cash flow months. So that would be a good recommendation.
But I would like not to see it capped at 16%, capped at 2 months. I like to see it, I don't want it capped at 2 months. I just want it to go from 7 to at least 2 months.
Up to.
Up to,
Yeah,
up to, but not
Yes.
capped.
Right.
It makes a big difference if you put that cap on there,
Thank you, Ms.
up to
Anderson.
2 months.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Other comments or questions from the board? Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is a report on character education. Dr. Ham?
Yes, character education is a requirement from the State Department of Education. It's in state regulation. It's a requirement of our own board regulations. And it's a topic I don't think this board has really addressed in quite a while, at least that I can remember. It's been a priority for me, and I thought tonight it would be interesting for the board to get a glimpse into what we do with character education in our schools by hearing an elementary example, a middle school example, and a high school example. So from elementary school, we have The Leader in Me is the program, and presenting that is Karen Beeman.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
At Lonnie B. Nelson, we are very proud to be growing leaders through the framework of Leader in Me. We study and practice the 7 habits of highly effective people. It's an old book. It's been around for a long time, but it works. In order to learn how to lead and be successful human beings. The Leader in Me is not a program, but really a premise on making us better people as teachers, as administrators, as educators, so that will trickle down to our students. It's not something that we do to kids, it's something that we do for ourselves, which makes us better character leaders. We often tell our students to be respectful, be responsible, but we sometimes don't always show them what that means and how to get there. So we do that through the 7 habits. We also provide our Lonnie B students with lots of leadership opportunities. We've just started a new club for our event planners to help us plan any events, honor roll bingo, attendance recognitions that the students actually help set it up, put it on, and so they're super proud to be part of Lonnie B. We've changed our mission statement. We are learning to lead and leading to learn. Thank you.
Thank you.
As a middle school example, we have Jeff Timoni here with some of his students from Kelly Mill Middle School, and they have a program, Mail Call.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Behind me I have Mr. Leroy York, who's one of our advisors for our Mail Call program. We have 3 of our students, Noah, Trellis, and Paul. And Mail Call, what it is, this is new to Kelly Mill this year. We do a lot with character development, but Mail Call is a little different. It's a gender-based program. We'll reach out to our young men. We focus on manhood, what it means to be a man versus being male. We also talk about we have workshops for them. We have workshops related to etiquette. We focus on leadership, character development. Our young people meet with their advisors twice a month. As you can see, they have on their green ties. We provide some green ties for them. On those days that we have our meetings twice a month, everybody wears their green tie. We talk about leadership and how you dress for success. So there are really 2 parts. That part that focuses on manhood, and that second part is related to college readiness. As you know, Kelly Mill is an avid demonstration school, and so we're always talking about preparing for college. And so when we talk about academic responsibility, we talk about that now, how you own your education. So already this year, our students have visited Morris College for their early awareness program. On March 26th, they'll be visiting USC, Benedict, and Allen University. And then on the 11th of April, they'll be headed to Charleston to visit the Citadel and the College of Charleston and spend some time in Charleston. And then on the way back, they'll stop by to visit South Carolina State and also Claflin University. So we believe in not only telling our young people about what it means to be a man, but also sort of showing them we have some great examples at Kelly. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Can the young men just come back up and
sure.
stand in the front? They just look so handsome. Just introduce yourself, and I love that one in that pink and green. If you could just tell us your name and what grade you're in.
I'm Noah Gibbs, and I'm in 7th grade.
I'm Paul Ford, and I'm in 6th grade.
I'm Charles Heatley, and I'm in the 8th grade.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
next up is Ralph Schmidt. He's going to be talking about the Westwood Way as a high school example of character education.
Good evening. You know, last year when we opened up Westwood High School, our School Improvement Council wanted to do something that was a very signature event for Westwood. And so we really worked on our core value program the first 6 months of the school, and we identified our core values. And Mr. Jackson, when you were doing your inspirational moment, you hit on several of ours. We developed our core values. They're 5 simple core values of respect, responsibility, integrity, community, and empathy. And every week on Tuesday, we have Core Value Tuesday. And we make sure that on our news show that the first Tuesday we bring in someone from the community. It might be a business leader. It might be one of our people in government. But they come in and they deliver a message. And they deliver the message of a core value. Last week we had Mayor Mike Ross from Blythewood come in, and he talked about the core value of community and why community is so important and why each one of us has to keep that core value in us. The next Tuesday on Core Value Tuesday, the following week, is what we do call celebration. And we celebrate what happens. We have our teachers nominate students. We have students nominate students. We have students nominate teachers. We have teachers nominate teachers. And we celebrate the things that the individuals are doing that really highlight what we're trying to talk about with our core values. And we bring them on the news show, and we really talk about what they did, why that was important, why it fit the mold of our core value program, the Westwood Way. And the students get an iPod Shuffle and a specially designed core value t-shirt that no one else in the school has the privilege of wearing but those who receive it. Teachers receive a $50 gift card that they can go and buy something for their classroom or for their workspace, and they also get the t-shirt. And we highlight this. And the real great thing that we do is we highlight this on our morning news show so it can be seen either live streaming, because you can go to redhawktv.org, or we post it. So parents get an opportunity to see it. And it's been very successful, and we're excited to talk about that. And we talk about those core values in everything we do. And they have just become the keystone of what Westwood is about.
Thank you, Ralph.
I want to culminate the presentation with Janine Tucker. Round Top was just this year recognized as one of the nation's top character education schools, a national school of character. And I'll also mention, Richland too has distinguished itself by having 2 such schools. Lake Carolina was also recognized as a national school of character several years ago. And so she's going to speak briefly about what that means to be a national school of character and what it means to a school to emphasize character so comprehensively.
Thank you very much. I think in the spirit of John Wooden, the renowned coach, it's a lot of little things that are done well. So just like the other schools that have spoken, we opened with a core language, a common language, and you can see that in front of me. These 19 life skills and 5 lifelong guidelines are everywhere in our school. They're in every classroom. They're in large murals throughout the building. So every student in every classroom knows the expectations. Every parent is aware. We all speak a common language. All of these also have American Sign Language, so we don't even have to speak the language. We can actually sign to one another with any of those words that you see in front of us. There are 11 qualities that they look for in a national school of character. So I believe there's numerous schools in our district, if not all of the schools in our district, that are worthy of the recognition, perhaps just haven't written the application yet. So talks about things like the foundation of good character, what that looks like, what that feels like, what that sounds like, the caring community that you provide, and you feel that when you walk in the doors. And I think when most of you, if not all, have visited Round Top, and that's one of the common things that we hear when people enter our school is it's a very warm environment. It feels like home, and we're very proud of that. We work hard to motivate our children. We intrinsically motivate them. There's very few extrinsic things that we do for students, but we try very hard to help them understand the importance of intrinsic motivation, building leaders, as Karen Beeman spoke about, and that's a program that we're also involved in, the Leader in Me program. I think the core of our school is the commonality and the expectations that we have presented since we opened with a common vision. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, I hope these folks will come forward and answer them.
The board have any questions or comments?
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Johnson.
it's not a question for the folks that presented, but I just wanted to know, do we teach character education in any of our schools? I know that Blythewood Academy have it part of their curriculum. Do we have that in any of the other schools?
We have some kind of a program in every one of our schools. It takes different forms in different schools. But whether it's posting the life skills and using the language, but there's something happening in each of the schools.
But not a physical classroom where students actually go every day?
No, not
only Blythewood Academy? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Any other questions or comments from the board? Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is our agenda items for our March 25th board meeting, which will be held at Keels Elementary. We have information available. Dr. Ham?
Yes. On the 25th, we'll have special recognitions. We will have student focus. We should have a revenue forecast for the 2014-15 school year. We'll have a report on the district choice options. You'd asked for an overview. That'll be sort of a 5-year review. And then earlier we talked about getting a report on some of our grants, so we'll give you a report on our STEAM grant at that meeting as well.
Thank you very much.
The STEAM grant.
Any other items the board would like to either add to the March 25th agenda or future board meeting agenda?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Manning.
For a future agenda, can we have an update on central registration and where we are with that in the district?
Good suggestion. Thank you, Mr. Manning. Any others? Mr. Anderson?
Were you first, Bill? Did you ask?
Well,
Dr. Fleming?
I remember that we discussed maybe earlier about getting the results of our surveys from the budget to be included in our budget forecast.
Oh, that's
I think
right.
just add that into that particular, I just want to
Thank you. 25th.
know.
Ms. Anderson?
I would like to know if we could if District 2 could take a lead in the state of South Carolina and step outside of the box. In 3rd or 4th grade, teach cursive writing. I've brought this up before, but I think it's very imperative that our students learn cursive writing, if it's no more than to learn to write their names and read signatures. So I'd just like for someone to look into that, investigate it. I know other states are doing that, and I would like for South Carolina to be one of those states that teach our children at an early age cursive writing. Just because it's a mandate from the federal government, all of the mandates come from the government, are not always correct. So I would like to see if we could look at 3rd or 4th grade teaching our students cursive writing.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Any other questions or comments from the board, or any other items to be added to the future board meeting agenda? Thank you very much. Next on our agenda tonight is public participation, part 2. Once again, no one signed up. However, if there's anyone in the audience who would like to come and address the board, you can do so at this time. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is our board and superintendent comments. I'll start with Ms. Elkins Johnson.
No comments, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Ms. Brill.
I think it was last week, was Founder's Day at Anna Boyd, and Dr. Fleming was there, and Ms. Anderson, and we had a wonderful time. They bring the community in, and the community is so proud of having Anna Boyd right there. And they had a program, and then the Men of Praise do the singing. and they are absolutely outstanding. They really do need to make a recording. They could be famous. And so it was just an outstanding day, and it just did your heart well to see how well the children are doing, the young students that are there. These are students that are lower than middle school alternative program. And they were all neatly dressed and proud to be there, and I just thought it was an outstanding program.
Thank you, Ms. Real. Mr. Manning?
I want to thank Forest Lake had their annual play and foundation event, and I had the fortune to be there, and I tell you, the talent that we have in this district, even at that early age, is just incredible, the quality that we have there. Also, at that event, Miss Denise Duke, who was one of our teachers at Forest Lake, was presented with the first ever, what they call the Beagle Award. NASA has always presented, their astronauts presented to other teammates within NASA what they call the Silver Snoopy Award for teammates who demonstrate excellence in providing support. And the NASA's Digital Learning Network, their education arm, created this award and presented the first ever Beagle Award to Miss Denise Duke at Forest Lake. And so I think that's a real honor, a commitment to the STEM technology that they have at Forest Lake and in other places. And so just want to commend her for the work that she's doing for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. Dr. Fleming?
I just want to, again, reiterate what Mr. Manning said about our meeting last night, that I thought it went well, and that this board, I would like to do that for every school. If we have that type of interest and that type of input, I mean, we could start and hit the ground running on everyone. Unfortunately, if you have a big bond referendum, sometimes that will make that would be a lot of meetings to have, wouldn't it, Mr. Jackson? But anyway, it was that intense and informative of a session. I'm sure many of you were there, and thank you for being there. That's really all I have to say.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. Mrs. Anderson?
Kudos for everything my fellow board members have said, and I too would just like to give a special shout out to Kelly Johnson, principal at Anna Boyd. That was an awesome program, and it was a lot of planning that took place in putting on that program. And for Miss Boyd, who the school is named after, was an awesome lady. Each year there's a program there. Lottie, several of us was here. I learned more each time I go to one of their programs. I learn more about Miss Boyd and how strong of a woman she was in that community. Just want to say thank you to Kelly and her staff for putting on such a wonderful program.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Dr. Ham?
There have been several exciting things that have happened since the last meeting, and I'll start with Patrick Kelly, our District Teacher of the Year, who's one of the 5 finalists for the State Teacher of the Year. And he's got a great chance to be the State Teacher of the Year. He is an absolutely fabulous teacher. I'm so proud of him. And he will be, along with our other teachers here, Teachers of the Year, School Teachers of the Year, recognized this Thursday at our annual Teacher of the Year banquet. It's hosted by our district foundation. Richland Northeast High School's Modeled UN team has done it again for the 25th year. They've won the national title for the Model UN program. Wow, they beat out 181 other teams. I think that's just remarkable. So congratulations to Lynn Washington and that team for another successful year. I was with Mr. Manning at the Forest Lake event and got to be part of the NASA Beagle Award. And I do think it's just absolutely remarkable that Denise Duke not only received this first award, but she was really the inspiration for them to give the award to a teacher at all, that she knocked their socks off to the extent that they really thought they needed to have an award like this for teachers. So I thought that was just really wonderful. So congratulations to Denise Duke. Another award-winning teacher, Dent's Mark Turner, has been selected as the Bearing Teacher Ambassador for his outstanding work in history. That's a National History Day recognition, so congratulations to him. And is Ralph still out there? Yeah. Tell them about your student council. For 2 weeks in Richland too. Not bad.
Thank you, Dr. Ham. I also want to recognize Ridgeview High School's School Improvement Council. That organization they are finalists for the state award, which is going to be honored on March 22nd. So we want to wish them the very, very best as they compete for the state School Improvement Council of the year. Thank you very much, Mr. Tony, and your young men from Kelly Mill. We really are impressed with them here, and I really and truly did almost put on my green tie with my pink shirt. Sorry I didn't do it tonight. Thank you all for coming. If there's nothing else, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second. Ms. Manning, Ms. Anderson, thank you very much. Have a good night. Meeting's adjourned.